Well, we are back here for our deciding game of the day. FPX versus NIP. It should have been a 2-0. It should have been over. NIP had everything in the palm of their hands. Nearly 1,100 gold in the advantage. A phenomenal first 30 minutes of the game. They could not close out. They could not land that clean combo to end the game on the Yasuo Diana, and FPX claw it back to a victory. Late game brand damage proved pretty obnoxious. First pick for FPX will be the Leo.
Do you take the Azrael now? Azrael's quite a powerful pick. NIP, I don't know about the brand. I don't know. I feel like Aki should... This is the problem with NIP. When you look at a draft for NIP, the stuff they want to pick is not necessarily the power picks. They want to pick comfort picks, and they're not the most powerful picks in the meta right now. So, yeah, it feels like NIP going towards that brand. It's not Aki's specialty. That Ezreal is taken away, though. Ezreal Leona, very, very powerful. So it's a good lock-in for Photic. It's towards his comfort picks, and it's taken away from Doctam. But now you're countered in the Ezreal by that Kaiser, which can assassinate you.
And Doctam, back when he was arguably one of the best bot laners in the damn world a few years back over in the LCK, was a huge Kaiser player. Put so many hours into that champion, and now with the Lucian as well, you hit the mid-game, you can start to really spike off. Of course, we know how dangerous Kaiser gets post that 2-item mark as well. Does begin to transition over into becoming more of an artillery piece. Braum locked in rapidly here to manage some of the potential line skill shots that FPX might otherwise be throwing out.
It's mainly there to just deny the Leona the strong laning phase and kind of control the Leona. We've seen that Leona, if she's not into Braum, does despicable things to the map, both in lane and then elsewhere. Leona struggles into the Braum. Now, I do think you can play Nautilus into Braum because you can start W and you can just, like, not hook in. Leona doesn't really have that choice as much.
You go in and die.
Yeah, that hurts a little bit more. So now NIP, they're trying to ban away some of the junglers from Milky Way. His Lilia has been one of his best AP junglers, the brand the other. Those two have looked really quite powerful for him. God, that Cataclysm in the last game was game-changing. Cataclysm was... Pyroclasm, that's the one.
I know, it's very simple. It was a cataclysmic event, though. It really was an ending of an age. As the game really shifted after that. And again, Milky Way is a player who exploded onto the LPL stage this year. He was a player I had a lot of love for how he played last year on RNG's academy team, Royal Club. Still holding on to that name down there in the LDL, and came up towards this stage and has really made a name for himself. It's been a bit of a rougher showing in summer. I think in some ways hasn't had that same easy priority in the solo lanes that he was using in the spring to get so much value, but is still a real threat, and I think teams are understandably wary of his ability to take a carry option and take a game over.
And NIP don't have that much engaged right now. I'm getting a little bit worried for that, because Rookie's not exactly playing that many engaged champions mid lane. You could go towards the Yone. He's might have to go towards that without that Cork, you know. I think that Yone brings a lot to that team. I'd quite like to see that one. There is the chance the Ezreal going towards that mid lane, but I do think that you need some extra engage from somewhere, and that's really important to get through from one role or the other.
I'm seeing Rookie smirking on my screen, which makes me think he's got something fun planned, but we'll hold a second. As all we've got currently are hovers, and yet to see exactly what the decision will be. I think the Yone, as you said, makes the most sense.
Exactly.
The backgrounds actually link up surprisingly well between Yone and Braum, by the way, with the sky colours. I'm just saying.
Very true. I mean, somehow, Braum's still missing off his shoulder, but yes, that's fine.
Yes!
On the other side, Milky Way locks in the Kindred, one of his best champions, the most famous champions, which kind of catapulted him to fame. Back in spring, ZDZ goes for the easy matchup with that Cassante, just trying to say, okay, I'm going to go for a blind pick, tank in that top side, and let Milky Way have the fun.
I tell this story quite a lot, but he was playing with the shield to his sword in XZZ as his mid laner, who would play Galio inevitably to back up Milky Way's ability to play so aggressively on this champion. He had a whole segment every break where it was him breaking down how he played Kindred.
Whoa, hang on.
Whoa, what?
Sam, you can talk about that all you want, and that's great, Sam. Shanji brings out the 2022 pick special in the Shyvana top lane. Shanji was the player playing Shyvana top lane in 2022, and he played it then as a bruiser killer into the likes of tanks. He'll be going towards that Spear of Shojin, or likely going towards bruiser build. Shanji coming out with a classic too.
NIP log Yasuo Diana last game, and I'm mid lyrical spiel about Milky Way's amazing Kindred, and Shanji just cuts me out of the knees with a Shyvana lock.
They're umming and ahhing about the locks, and we get one actual pick kind of snuck in beyond us because we're ready to go into that whole speak. Again, that whole speech about Milky Way and his Kindred, but Shanji bringing out the Shyvana. I can't even remember the last time he played it. I'm gonna have to go look back at it. But this guy made his mark on that Shyvana in that top lane. It's one of the things which catapulted him to fame as well. Pulling out the stops, a different pick. NIP are cooking today.
They have been ready and willing to bring out some comps that are decidedly their own. They have been struggling, I think, to conform and cleave to the meta. Instead, they say, well, screw it. Let's play Yasuo Diana. Let's play Shyvana top. Let's do what, say, the likes of OMG, when Shanji was on that team last year, made so successful by going towards their own picks. Can they make it work here in Game 3, though? They couldn't get it over the line in Game 2.
Shanji, 4 and 1 on Shyvana all time. Hasn't played it in 2 years. Used to play it as a bruiser and a tank to try and get the best out of it. Will it make the difference here in Game 3?
Level 1 there for Milky Way with the Wolf's Frenzy. Always a good start. It gives you your healing passive as well for those who aren't Kindred players. Not on your basic passive for Kindred. It is on that W passive. That's where you get that heal on autos every time you move. 100 steps energized style. Either way. Going to be a little bit of early level 1. Looking for Milky Way to try and scout out where the start is. Shanji going Ghost and Teleport, pretty standard up there. We'll see what the build is. I believe Levi over in the VCS pulled it out again recently. Was a big AP Shyvana player. Care needs to be really careful. Face checks 4. Not quite the Brawn passive and gets out to safety. Had to level the E at level 1.
So he's going to take himself a bit of a chunk. That's a bit of a problem. Lucian does really value his level 1, level 2 hard trades. Can make that a bit harder. But yes, so we've only seen Shyvana in the jungle this year. It's Shojin into Liandry's, and then you kind of go Bruiser after that point. You're basically looking for like percent increases to your damage. You're very good with mixed damage. The Shojin gives you the ability damage, and then of course the Liandry's gives you that after. We have seen that before. It wouldn't surprise me to see Shanji go towards something like a Warmogs instead. He has gone towards heavier tank in the past, something like that Iceborne Gauntlet can be very powerful too. But just watch out to see what his build is. I'm expecting a Shojin early, but we'll see what it goes beyond that point. Milky Way spotted going over to the enemy Raptors. It is going to be enemy camp for enemy camp. It's going to be Milky Way though, taking one camp of his own. Aki can't really, well, Aki can maybe stay longer in his own quadrant and see what he can do to take all 3 camps. Milky Way's going to be slightly slower to do the same too. It will be full quadrant for quadrant trade.
What a wild old game it's going to be. You can see there, it is a very Milky Way style of build. It has gone towards Scorch Claw on the Kindred. Does like to go towards Collect It in Fedge if he can get towards that, or Kraken Slayer in Fedge. Those style of really AD carry style builds, not the kind of Trinity Force Bruisery options as rookie. Chunk's a little low there, but gets a good Spirit Cleave afterwards to even up the HP bar well enough.
He's got a pot ticking. If he gets level 3, he'll be safe. The next W cooldown makes it much easier for him to play through this lane. Care still doing good trades with that press the attack, taking that early lane advantage, even with that E start and the early chunk. Rookie still losing the trades for now, and we'll have to even out after that first back.
For sure, all the while, Lucian did get the shove, helped keep the Kindred safe on the invade as well. Brand has gone back to their own jungle and just made this a split map. Again, it is something we're starting to see come back again, especially with lane swaps falling away from popularity once more. Just splitting the map, splitting the jungle becoming more of an option as Photic trying to get that passive proc, and does so for a big chunk onto life.
That's nasty. That's going to burn through one of the pots coming through from life. Good lane dominance coming through from Photic and Draw so far. I had a bit of a laugh because I just saw someone saying that, man, Shyvana top, I've not seen that in pro play before. When I first started watching pro play back in 2014, I caught up on season 3 and it was a big pick there. Players like, so you see the Shy there. Shy was a Korean top laner that was a fantastic Shyvana back then as well. Rookie's got himself that knockup. No, E hits it onto Care. Care blows that flash. But no, back 10 years ago, we saw that Shyvana top lane, and it was a huge either bruiser or that tank variant. And then after that point, became more of that AP threat from that jungle.
Milky Way holding onto the Dance Varus now, hops on forwards. The ward's still there, can start to do some damage. Aki gets the stun, and Milky Way in danger. Just didn't deal with that option. Flashing for the auto, needs one more for the mark. Gets it. Now Care and Rookie in the 1v1, but there's still a Q3 from Rookie, which means this gets very scary indeed. And a red buff on Ione means slicing, dicing, and a flash for another kill.
It's a mark to Milky Way, but the kills go to Rookie. And you know what? If I'm NIP, I take kills on Rookie any day of the week. 2 kills in a matchup where the Lucian's meant to bully. That's going to flip things for 6. And it feels like NIP, we said like at the start of the day, would be winning through solo lanes. That's a good start to it.
Around now, getting pretty huge. His life was stunned up. I had the Eclipse, now Photic in danger. The Plasma not procced though. Heal and cleanse burned by Photic and Joy. As you can see, Docdam and Live burning their own similar and matching summoner spells.
Oh, game 3, NIP, FPX. Milky Way, now 2 marks from that spawning on the Scuttle as well. Sometimes you can get unlucky and it spawns on the Raptors if you time it wrong with the camp respawns, even at just that 1 mark. But still, Milky Way gets them. Very important this game because he's against quite low top lane of support for him to get that range increase. You can see that it's a response from Milky Way, just trying to like buy Care some space in this lane. He hits a full combo from Aki, who's a level up on him. It's not the best, but he still gets the full E proc, the Mounting Dread, onto Aki on the other side, which at least gets him the assist, which gets him the mark.
And the other thing there is the fight was happening because there was a Skull Crab on the top side of the map. It's like, I want this real bad. So in the end, it's still 2 marks to Milky Way, and it ends up in an extended 1 for 2.
Look, I'm quite a connoisseur of ARAM Kindred, and that is like the epitome of you care for nothing but marks. You call out in comms, this is the target. Call in the drone strikes effectively, and it doesn't matter if 4 people die for it, it's still worth it for the marks.
Okay, not again. Oh no, it'll be a fate sealed surely afterwards. Well, the Mortal Steel goes wide. Milky Way now around, and Care stays alive, but Lord Almighty was he taken low.
Shanji has level 6, he's walking down. Care's very low. He does have that Ghost in Summoners. He's not getting forced down on right now. He can sit here, full rage, and look back into the play. Care is very low HP. NIP can wait for Shanji to get teammates behind his back and force them away because Care was chunked out but didn't die. NIP still managed to get themselves over to the Grubs.
Milky Way at least steals one of them away, which is at least a win right now. I wonder whether Milky Way will try and look over towards the Gromp. You can see there's a ping on it saying, I want to fight for this Gromp. Maybe that'll be the play. We'll see whether the resets from bot lane allow for it. I feel like Photic yet to back, maybe forced on a reset shortly, so there might be a window.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Photic didn't go towards the teleport. I suppose when you're into the Leona, it kind of makes your decision for you. Shanji goes for the ult. A lot of the time, folks, you go towards the ult just to get that kind of poke out. You tend to max your E. You can see that down there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen because the Flame Breath is so really, really nasty, and it scales up even better when you are in that dragon form. This build, we'll see what it comes through to. He's gone towards those cooldown boots. Again, very, very powerful. It allows you more of those Flame Breaths to come through. You might be able to just get one last one. Going to go back into the enemy jungle, potentially look to Proxy Farm. The next one puts down that Flame Field with that last Flame Breath, and we'll look to charge up the Rage again by auto-attacking the minions.
Yeah, getting that burnout on a few Twin Bites, being as obnoxious as they can, but you can see Kindred and Care pass the thing on over. Remember, Milky Way has a mark on this, so if Shanji dies for this, gets very tricky. Has Ghost, will be forced to burn it. Flash on forwards to EDZ. No where really for Shanji to go. It's too deep. 3rd mark to Kindred.
What is Shanji doing? You have a little debuff on your hotbar saying you've been marked by Kindred. You've just pushed over the lane, Rookie can't get to you, and no one's on your side of the map. That is really, really greedy after using your ult. The fact that he could have just backed off after clearing that wave is not lost on me. The fact that Shanji dies there is not a great start.
Yeah, and I know you've got Ghost, but you had no ultimate, and the moment ZDZ flashes and gets CC on you, you're not getting enough distance to stay alive there, even with a burnout.
So, got to dive on the bot side, but there's teleport response.
Okay, turn around onto Life. He's got the Eclipse flashing on out, has the Blaze passive on top of him, as 4 members were bot side. ZDZ is here. Docdown would love to help clear up this wave. There's Milky Way over on the top side. That's a mark. That would be 4 marks in 8.5 minutes.
My word. 4 marks at 8 minutes. That is beyond gold standard. That is a real diamond, which Milky Way's found there. The fastest I ever saw was 10 marks in 16 minutes, and that was Hoglet back in the LGL.
Shout out on Axis, yeah.
I believe that was in 21 summer, I think it was around that time. Might have been 22, but it was Hoglet back on Axis at that point. But that's the fastest I've ever seen. so that would have been 10 and 16. 4 and 8, it's a good mark. Can he get himself more than that and keep himself increasing that range and all of the extra abilities getting buffed from it?
Yeah, of course, that is a huge deal. It does things like it increases the execute damage on your E, the cooldown on your Q, the W percent HP damage as well starts to ramp up really heavily with it. More and more marks gives you so much scaling on the Kindred, who...
it doesn't give you cooldown reduction on the Q, does it? It gives you the attack speed, not the cooldown reduction.
That's right, it's attack speed. You're absolutely right. That's what it is. Yeah.
So you have to say, Sam, you are the Kindred player on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah,
the thing is, I have played so much Kindred, specifically on ARAM for the haha funny let's kill the person with the mug, that I've learned so much about Kindred through that. And then, of course, now seeing it in the LPL with players like Milky Way, Shun, Kanavi pulling this pick out. We've seen a lot of it coming back into pro play, especially with farming junglers just being in vogue right now. I love this now, because what it feels like it is Milky Way with 4 marks with a bit of a gold lead against Rookie with 2 kills. Milky Way versus Rookie? Hell yeah. Rookie versus the Rookie of the Year so far. That is exactly what I want to see coming through from this series in a deciding game here in the Ascension group. FPX need to really see what they can do to keep Milky Way going online. He has himself that first item of that Kraken Slayer. He is very, very ready to keep waltzing forwards now and see if he can burn people down.
Going to be as difficult as possible. The Kraken Slayer in nice and early, as was noted, and can start to go towards potentially collected this game. There's not going to be that... I mean, I'm looking at Shanji, who's building the Chain Vest, so maybe between that and the Braum, you feel more obligated into Infedge Lord Doms, but you've got a few opportunities, a few options here on the Kindred to become really obnoxious. The Collector in particular always feels really good because it pairs up so well with your E, as long as you don't stall out at that 2-item mark.
Yeah, I think that the Kraken Slayers are also really important with the item changes. Going to be a fight here. Joel, can you jump back in time? I don't know.
And remember, Brand's the marks. That's not one there, but the turn on to Aki could be another one coming on through. Ult afterwards. Flash over the wall. Mark 5. 2 kills for FPX.
5 marks in under 11 minutes, and FPX get a great kill from the Fog of War. Dwarf doesn't put up the shield in the right angle to stop Docdam doing damage. Docdam dunks him down, and NIP are going to be left watching Milky Way take off on this Kindred. So many marks so early on. You got Rookie going for an all-in, pulls the ult, doesn't use the E just yet, doesn't charge his Q up yet. Shanji's here, Kev's probably dead.
Dragon's Descent comes on through, and enough armor proves this one very difficult. Shanji with a burnout just does not care for how far you can dash away, runs him down, and gets a kill back for NIP.
That's something. It is a teleport towards that bot side. You have given up that those grubs for FPX. They get themselves that might buff. Sadly, NIP not going to be able to massively utilize this bot side pressure. Care will be able to respawn and teleport down there. Quick update on the Shyvana build as well. It's going towards the Iceborne Gauntlet as the first item, so it's not going to be something like that Shojin into something else. Watch the shield placement here. Push the shield up, but Docdam doesn't get to worry about it. So he does full damage, and sadly, Braum, a lot of his tankiness comes through that one. He hasn't even used his ult just yet. Docdam comes over. Last flash coming in from Milky Way as well. Really does feel like NIP overstepped their safe margins in terms of vision there. Dwo giving up an important opening.
They're resetting on vision here. Does Care want to interrupt it? Does so. No, too late. And Shanji gets out to safety.
Gets himself that first item on that back as well. He's like, oh yeah, a little tickle on the back. To get himself more armor locked in as well. Shanji, he's picked out a pick, which, of course, we haven't seen from him in 2 years. He's got himself that first kill, donated over to him for that dive. Need to see him get something done with this, because if you're just going to be sat there, like, diving into the fight, and then Cassante immediately drags you out or something like that, you're not bringing value to your team. Why have you picked this as a last pick? Why have you done that? Show us your reasoning. We've seen it sometimes. Going towards the full tank build can be quite important into, you know, triple AD carry, but is that going to be enough?
Gold has been pretty tight this entire game. Slight lead now for FPX. It's where the leads are that need to keep your eyes on. Rookie ahead in the mid lane, but Milky Way with all those kind of intangibles in terms of the 5 mark alongside the grubs could prove really scary too.
And so NIP walking back down towards this bot side. Rookie has 2 kills and starts below the Rune King. I haven't talked about him for a little while, but it does feel like he can do a lot. Aki caught.
Oh, that's a lot of damage back. The door comes on up, but the damage already kind of done. Into the backline goes Docdam beyond the door. George just about alive, but they lose Shyvana too. 2 dead. Dragon spawned. FPX on the road.
NIP leave their jungler. Well, they try and join their jungler. They try and say, okay, let's try and keep him alive. And they overcommit for it. FPX have so much extra follow-up. Life, pinpoint with the ultimates, catching out Aki again. And it just looks like NIP have fallen apart in terms of their macro at the end of Game 2. And their vision control in Game 3 has just not been adequate. FPX have been jumping first, and now we have, you know, Milky Way with 3, 1, and 3. Didn't get another mark from that somehow. Of course, it's just, I guess he already killed Aki a little bit too recently, but it does feel like life has been pulling Aki apart. This guy doesn't have the flash. If the brand doesn't have the flash, he's not very good against that, Leona. And the big problem here is, you know, we just talked about Shanji, shows why you're picking this. Flying into the team fight, hitting Gnome with your ultimate and not disrupting that play is not why you picked this pick.
And on the other side, like, look at this from an NIP perspective. They were an inch away, half a fight away, from ending the game in very clean fashion last game. They have played 1.9 fantastic games of League of Legends. They are now in a really difficult position in this game 3. A dive onto ZDZ might be an option, but Rookie shorts the Fate Sealed. Can't quite get on top of that as they were looking for the tower and more.
Yeah, good flash from ZDZ. I think it was reactive, knowing that Rookie was likely trying to lock him under the turret. Shanji does have his full rage now, so can go into the Dragon form with the Dragon's Descent. And NIP, they're falling apart now in terms of gold. They've given up a turret and a Herald. Rookie will be able to use that very easily. You've got that 4 grubs as well to use. Feels like the jungle support of Milky Way and Life have just been they've just been better. It's been better than NIP. I think Aki has been caught out a lot now. I feel like Draw has been caught out a lot now as well. And what that means is because the jungle support is dominant here from FPX, that's not going to lead to that much, I don't think, at this point. It means that the carries of NIP really can't do as much. I still think even with that, Photic has really struggled to get involved with the game. Need to see more from him. The last fight was basically 0 damage. NIP, if they are losing this jungle support, what are they going to do?
Well, wards down here at least. Milky Way back to marking the brand, who is going to be away off of Zhonya's, really. Gone for the double amp tones. Likely meaning he is building towards a Seekers right now, and I understand why. He's being jumped on so regularly. Any way to stay alive, to at least press some buttons, could be hugely, hugely valuable. We saw that last game from Milky Way, who went from dying every time to getting at least a combo off.
That has been the difference maker. NIP, they should have won this series. They should have won this game last. They should have been over. The fact that it's here and the fact that now you're in farming jungle versus farming jungle. Comfort for Milky Way. Discomfort for Aki. NIP, you made this bed yourself. You made this. Before this series, I was talking about how I thought that NIP would be favorites coming into this, but it was still close. It's hard to judge these teams when they've been losing so much. You don't get to see the best moments of them as often as you'd like. But NIP, in this series, they should have walked away with it, but they still have a chance. Rookie walking forwards, not going to be able to get that much. Misses that Q with the Relentless Pursuit carrying care to safety. NIP yet to find a game-breaking play.
Yeah, we've seen Rookie. Fantastic game on the Yasuo for large portions, now on the older brother. 2-0-1 has to be the point of difference this game, you feel, with the lead he got, but only 0.2k ahead. Exactly a sterling win condition quite yet, but the side lanes will prove pretty difficult as he gets towards those 2-3 item marks. Milky Way as well, though. Throws down Wolf's Frenzy and threatens a bit of a combo himself.
So, Dragon up in 2 minutes. We're looking at side lane control, well, mid lane control. We're looking at the next resets coming through and looking to see if FPX can punish Aki again. He has that flash up. If you can blow that flash before the fight comes through, wait for a second cooldown to come through, maybe that can work out in FPX's favor. All this is happening. Milky Way trying to see if he's managed to spot himself another mark. No, he has not. Who's his mark? Oh, we'll have to check that one.
Was Aki, I believe. Okay, we'll check and see whether it stays on
We
that.
will see what that portrait looks like next time we see that name. But NIP, they're not winning in the side lanes. They're not necessarily getting themselves easy access towards this dragon. I don't really know what the plan is. Is the plan just to turn up the dragon and try and 5v5? That didn't really work the last time. I guess Aki with flash might be the difference, but that feels like it is slim hope as it stands.
I am looking here at Aki as well, building up towards a verdant barrier when you've got double AD carry plus Kai'Sa, who currently is an AD carry, plus Cassandra, who does AD damage. And I get that you're wanting to deal with some of the potential poke and maybe the initial slow from the Kindred, but I don't know about that. I feel like the Zhonyas would have been the wiser call, as all out goes ZDZ against Shanji, who in turn trades out with the Dragon's Descent.
Yeah, Shanji just trying to chunk down ZDZ, NIP not angling towards the dragon at all. By pulling that, you're basically saying that you don't want to play towards bot side of the map. By putting so many people top lane, they're leaving open mid lane to get hit.
I know,
Folks can't wait for this. Hang on a
really.
second, what NIP? I mean, they might look for a teleport behind this. The Herald has been summoned in the mid lane from FPX. See a good trade onto Milky Way, but you know, NIP, by forcing towards topside, they don't manage to defend their mid lane out of turret.
Milky Way bound Aki by the wolves in the picture-in-picture and forced the flash out of him as well. We've used all his cooldowns on the wolf, so Kindred does a lot of work. He's picked up a BF sword and then gone towards a Dirk afterwards. I wonder whether he's transitioning over towards the Collector with that. So he's decided that the BF sword was enough on the buy. We'll go towards that next.
Do you know what Collector builds out of nowadays?
Is it BF sword?
Yes, it is.
Dirk? Oh,
yeah. So there you go,
Sam.
Sam. Someone's not played Kindred in a little while.
I know. You're not wrong.
So yes, he will be going up towards that Collector, and he'll be looking to just dunk down on that first target. Try and secure as much as he can with that big AD spike and that ability to execute as well. NIP, they get themselves that top turret, but they lose that mid lane turret. They lose a dragon. FPX, I think they're happy with this right now. I think they're really happy with how this game is going. Dam's getting to a point of power. I think that Milky Way is obviously going to start totaling the game. The thing for NIP, which is worrying me, is that they have to now rely on Aki on this brand to do some magnificent damage. The Verdant Barrier is good against the Solar Flare. If you Zhonya's, you end up stuck in place. You can't walk back.
Okay.
That can be a problem. That's why I'd say maybe the Verdant Barrier is better. If it gets popped though, then you feel really, really bad. But that's the same. The problem is, if you play Zhonya's, you're not running away. You're still stood where you were, which is a bit of an issue. So I think that Aki is going to be very, very important to this game. He needs to not get caught out of position. That Verdant Barrier is going to have to get good value for him. If he can get a good Pyroclasm across the team, that can be the damage that NIP needed, which they have failed to see so far in this game.
Yeah, I saw the Verdant Barrier and went, look, you got double AD carry. Even the Kai'Sa is going to be mixed damage at this point. I was just a bit wary on it, but I see the thought process at least. We'll see whether it pays off. FPX currently, stats and a bit of AI, considered to be favoured to win the game if the prognosis is to be believed, but we've seen those prove very wrong time and time again, so we'll wait and see.
Wait, technically not. Well, technically, by the way, technically not AI, and technically AI is not AI. AI is machine learning, by the way. That's a thing. It's just running the same things over and over. It doesn't think for itself, by the way. And that there is technically just putting through a model. Yeah. You have all your data there. You have all of your data there. It's not actually learning anything.
But it's got a smiley robot face. It's an AI.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sure that'll look great when Skynet's bearing down on us. Did you ever think about that, huh?
Do-doon. It's got great music, though.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we should let Skynet and the Terminator movies happen because it has good music.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable defense.
NIP, solo laners, only people with the advantage. You do have the Collector now built up by Milky Way. It's the Unending Despair by Shanji, which will proc off of that E. We'll see if he can get good use out of that one. Again, trying to be really, really tanky. Unending Despair is it is an armor item. It looks like the other one that the Wazama call it, which is the AP Sunfire.
Yeah, that one. Which is the Hollow Radiance.
This Hollow Radiance, and yeah, they look all the same.
They look very similar, I know.
He's trying to be tanky. As the second round of that ultimate, he'll get himself a lot of HP by casting that. Actually, both him and ZDZ trying to like basically trading off getting more tanky with your ult or getting less tanky and doing more damage. I guess Shyvana technically does more damage and is tanky, but K'Sante's not a fair champion, so hey, not quite the same. I need to see what this Shyvana is going to do. It's winning out in the side lanes, it's pushing out okay, but I need to see what this is going to do. You pick this as an R5 to answer this K'Sante. If it works, sure, we take that into consideration for future drafts. I've not really seen enough to be convinced so far, and I think that maybe Shanji is going to struggle to run down some of these carries if they manage to space them. If you don't manage to get your Iceborne proc, I feel like FPX might be able to kite you even with the W and the Ghost running.
Early Baron start. Jaw's going to come on over and might put down a wall, but where is Aki coming on in now? They know it's going down by about 2,000 already. Not the fastest yet. Even with the triple AD carry, they pull away, knowing they're a known quantity. The HP bar's a little bit low for it, but there's no real waves for NIP to work with to try and punish FPX start of that.
FPX don't really want to be tanking the Baron either. So they end up going towards that. Shanji, of course, Shyvana, one of the best, like, ward-killing champions of the game.
Twin Bite, yeah.
Yeah, the Twin Bite, the auto reset, very, very powerful for that, because the Twin Bite counts as 2 auto. So it's one of the reasons we used to see Blade the Rune King Shyvana all the time back in Season 3, Season 4. That's a pick. It's not going to be that much. CDZ is also very tanky in his own right. Half his HP. Rookie really putting on the hurt, but it's not realistically a kill. He might have to teleport back into the fray.
Collector completed by Kindred a little while ago as well, so Milky Way at that point might want to look in towards the Wolves, knowing that NIP are elsewhere. See whether he feels like he has the route to get over there. A minute until next Dragon, just under, and that will be sole point for FPX. And again, triple AD carry in front line with an Ocean Soul. It was pretty good, I think, for them. And an Alarm's Respite too. You're feeling real good with that.
Hugely so, because that Ocean Soul keeps ticking when you're in that. When you're in that, well, Kindred ultimate can be very powerful. NIP teleporting in now, really wanting to force this. They will be giving up mid prio. FPX will have an answer into this. NIP, they don't really play for the flanks here. They're looking for poke as it stands.
I think Baron has been sort of started the Solar Flare a little bit, but loose only gets us slow. Jaw taken down by about a third. The door was good enough to block out the culling.
It was. So, and NIP end up the worst for wear somehow amongst all that poke. I thought it was going to go in the favor of NIP. Goes the other way. And we now have the point where Dogdam is just on the verge of getting the AP upgrade as well for the W. Not quite. Actually, no, it is. It is there. I make a mistake. Normally you see the bar above it on the champion thing on the bottom left. So he does have the W upgrade just between the Rage Blade and then the other kind of the Amp Term and Blasting one. NIP gonna start this out.
No way.
FPX, they don't spot it. It is a Brand. Brand is kind of bullshit when it comes to this.
I think it's gone. Rookie's there with 2 items as well. They're gonna get Soul Point, but they don't know. FPX coming on over now, down about half HP. Can they come and play this? They're gonna get in and try for the fight afterwards. Baron is down already, taken by NIP. In trade all out onto the Shyvana. Fate sealed out of the pit, leaves ZDZ alone. Jaw gets over the wall by pressing E, and Braum stands behind his team. Baron on 5, NIP sneak it away.
And it's only sold points for FPX. So NIP, they're going to get themselves some clean resets. You can see that FPX are going to try and push in mid-wave as soon as possible. They don't get themselves a mark onto Milky Way. Sadly, he's not been able to get beyond that 5 mark. It's still a powerful point. Saw that first range increase, but that's going to hurt for him. I think ZDZ made a mistake in that play too. Ended up bringing out Shanji on the Shyvana in the 1v1. I don't think you win that 1v1 versus the Shyvana when you're both in your ult forms. Should have brought out someone squishy to see if he could make that out in a 1v1. So maybe a mistake there. FPX, for once, they are the ones which are falling behind in the macro and the vision control.
I don't think they expected the 2-man Baron, and NIP were ready and willing to do it anyway and not abuse them of that notion, and or disabuse them of that notion, rather. And therefore, they end up in this position where they have managed to get the Baron. They've got this Yone who's getting increasingly tanky. He's picked up a Warden's Mail here against all the auto attackers. I completely understand that one.
Yeah, Shanji is very, very... Shanji and Rookie are both going to get really, really tanky at this point. Rookie going to go towards that. I mean, you do have the magic damage coming through from the Kai'Sa, but you are still an auto-attacker. Shanji going into that ult form just for poke.
Exactly that. Last Whisper picked up by Milky Way, trying to build up towards that Lord Dominic's regards to be able to deal with some of the HP and resistances being stacked. Shanji got chunked a little bit there. Rookie, though, taking his own with this tier 2, should realistically get rid of this one fast enough. Doesn't have the most AD or even that many grubs, so still only gets half of it so far. And all the while, Care in the picture-in-picture gets the tier 2 up there. So FPX not letting this Baron work super easily right now as Dogdown trying to clear up the wave in the face of Aki and Photic.
Ooh, God, gets tagged by that W, buddy. You can't be careful with that.
Flash away, the Mounting Dread comes on through. Jaw in dangerous position. Flash away, has the heal, but into the backline they go. Photic's dead. They get a hold of him. Dogdown pulls the killer instinct. Another W lands, and they get the kill and break the shove in mid lane. Shanji not with the rage enough to go Dragon form right now, and the Dragon fortunately cannot descend.
Shanji only has that ghost, can't really do much without that ult, and suddenly FPX, they're the ones which flip this Baron power play over on its head. With this tower, they're going to get briefly NIP into a negative Baron power play. ZDZ, he's pretty tanky. There's a Thornmail on him too, which means he's going to be denying some of that Blade of the Ruin King healing coming in from Rookie. He'll wave clear just fine, and suddenly FPX, despite the fact they gave up that Baron, walk out ahead. I don't know what happened with that stolen, with that mark on the other side too. I'd imagine
the red buff
got him. I wonder if he ended up getting himself that one as well. Draw caught out really, really deep. You can't be here without someone to jump back to immediately. Photic gets traded back onto because he had a W hit him just before this point. Dogdam really starting to put on the hurt. The only thing which saves NIP is that Pyroclasm dissuading the enemy team.
Yeah, third item now completed by Dogdam, and he did get the mark off the red buff for the record, so that's now at 6. 1 off that second range increase, which when you add in something like a Lord Dominus could be scary as Care. You can't keep face-checking these bushes. That's where Rookie was just a moment ago. Gets away with it this time. It has been a few of those this game that has scared me on this Lucian. He'll be alright this time around. The game, still FPX's favour. The Baron buff was largely muted there by FPX finding that pick in the mid lane.
So, FPX haven't really had to play a big fight for a while. NIP, they've been the ones trying to they've been trying to avoid the big fights. I think NIP realized that the 5v5s are not in their favor. I wonder if that changes now with the Randuin's built up for Shanji and Rookie. I also wonder if that changes with the Nash's fully built up from Dogdam, and then also the Lord Dominic's regards coming through from Milky Way. Big items coming in from FPX. Those will affect the fight coming in in a minute for Dragon. It would be solved for FPX. Now, NIP, they've been avoiding the 5v5s. These item completions, they might change things one way or the other, but I don't think that NIP can avoid the 5v5 any longer.
They significantly changed time to kill for Milky Way, and the play pattern from Dogdam can now play from a lot further away in terms of throwing out those W's as Care throws down the R. Milky Way still with the Lamb Spike. Yet to really see that this game. NIP in position around the river. Care flashes away from the Fate Seal. The Rookie goes wide. Pulls back immediately. Solar Flare afterwards. Slows them all down. But FPX not really able to follow up. True Shot Barrage afterwards and Rookie down to about half HP. Another W lands.
And Doctam has AP. They're going in again.
Play. Damage to the backline. Doctam. Qs. And Acacia rains on all of their parades. Shanji. Dragon's Descent. Gets to. Milky Way, though, still able to trade on out. Doing as much damage as they can. Still has a Lamb's Respite to work with. Yet to need to use it. Lamb's Respite not there. Finally pops it. Can heal on up, and it'll be a 3 versus 1, and a Q3 from ZDZ prevents anything else. Milky Way gets the ace. Soul will be theirs afterwards, and FPX win the fight in style.
Milky Way has finally called on to carry. Dogdam goes too deep into 4 members, and the rain is split across too many members for him to be the deciding factor. It's Milky Way on the Kindred that walks away with the kills and walks away with the Ocean Soul. NIP, they were avoiding the 5v5s. I think we know why at this point. Yes, Shanji is tanky, and he can get some good clear-up damage in the back half of a team fight if he can isolate 1 or 2 people around it, but you don't have to watch this back again. You know, the start of this fight is good from FPX because they end up disengaging the Yone. Rookie misses out all of his important abilities, and this does open up some options for Dogdam and for the rest of the team to start playing this front to back, try and get behind the shield. Dogdam goes into too many people. He ends up going into 4 people. This is a painful play for him. He doesn't kill out Photic. He misplays, and that means that Shanji actually gets in a isolated 1v2 in the back line briefly. It really is Milky Way and ZDZ that end up cleaning up house after the mistake from Dogdam.
Tried to get that kill. It looked brilliant for a second or two, but of course then everyone turns on Dogdam, and you're leaving the Lucian, the Kindred, the Cassante to turn at your rears and just break your backs.
He dipped, dodge, duck, Dogdammed and died.
Yeah.
And he's going to go now back into this Baron, picked up by FPX, and NIP have to watch that one go down.
7 marks for the Kindred now as well. Yes, the Kaiser's a threat, but there are so many threats now on FPX. It gets quite tricky in this Baron. No real way to contest. Randuin's completed for Rookie. I suspect perhaps a touch too late. An Infinity Edge is this Kindred. Actually made that a GA, has decided against that, is going towards more survivability.
Yeah, no, Rookie did have that Randuin's for that last fight, just wasn't enough.
No, fair.
It wasn't enough. We were calling out the double Randuin's, and would they change the fight? The answer was no. No, it wouldn't. NIP got shredded all the same. I guess it doesn't help when Rookie misses all of his skills. I mean, what to make of Rookie? What to make of Rookie? I think he's had a fine game, but people expect such high things of Rookie. I think on his current form, those expectations are misplaced currently. I think that Rookie in the last series or 2 has struggled. He has been the player to carry NIP throughout most of summer, throughout the entirety of spring as well. I think that his games in summer, though, in the last few series, haven't quite been at the mark which he would want.
I also feel like you have to call out, this is not an easy Yone game, especially if you're asked to team fight, because you're the primary engage, and Yone hates being primary engage. It's so hit and miss. I know Xiaohu in an interview recently said, look, the thing I learned about playing Yone and why I look so much better on it is I watched Chovy, and he is never primary engage. He's always going in second. There is someone going first, a Leona, something like that, and that's just not the case here for NIP. And now ZDZ goes on forward, forces Aki to flash back away. Yone might have an opportunity here, finds a Fate Sealed onto a couple, but Milky Way gets to press Lamb's Respite, is tanky enough at this point to stay alive at the Ocean Soul. Afterwards, Dogdam hunting for more, gets to go golden. Another Zenith Blade allows a kill onto the Dragon. Dragon hunting, they're going extinct. We might have lost in the Euros finals, but St. George's boys will still find something here to claim another Dragon alongside
Turrets are going
Soul.
down. They're trying to protect the minions. Photic is alive. How much can he do? ZDZ at full HP, teleporting back in. Might have just bought them the game.
Photic so low, goes down. Lucian double taps him. It's Zombieland again. You know the rules. So do the rest of us. Funblast Phoenix scream to life, racing for the ashes of a game 2 that looked all but over, and slam home game 3.
NIP were on the verge of a clean 2-0, which would have seen them with their first series victory in front of their home crowd here in the Ascend stage. They instead lose 2-1 after throwing that second game, and it's FPX which find themselves their first win instead. Both of these teams were eyed as top 4 to top 5 teams coming out of spring. And as it stands right now, one of these 2 is at 0-4, and the other one is only at that 1-2 as well. It has felt like both these teams have struggled to find their form through meta changes, through drama, through roster changes as well. FPX clutched it out in front of NIP's home fans.
And they're going to look back at this series and wonder what happens if they clean that game 2, because we would have been talking about a very different NIP. Instead, once again, we have questions. We have issues with people like The side of Jaw finding opportunities as an engage. Aki as well, the level of form has been pretty volatile, I think, as well. And for all I think Rookie has had a good split, it's a hard game to play the Yone as the sole engage, as we saw. And despite a lead, what do you do when you get the Fate Seal and then you get Lambda Spited? You get a Leona going into your backline to solar flare you as you ping back. It's just so tricky.
Yeah. What you do is you use those 2 kills and snowball it and skirmish before it matters, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They lost in that jungle support battle. It slowed down what NIP wanted to do, and they slowed down, well, even further than they already were in this Ascension group. They've had some close games. They qualified well out of Group D, and they have been looked like a small fish in a big old ocean here in the Ascension group. Hello, welcome. My name is Nymaera. I'm also known as Alex. This is my brother, Initialise, also known as Sam. We cast these games when there's no official broadcast on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays for the LPL because someone should, and we'd like to do that and make sure these games aren't lost to time. Hope you enjoyed yourself today. We've had a whole lot of support with subscribers, with bits cheering and gift bombs, stuff like that. I'm sure I missed some as we were in game as well, but the support is really, really meant a lot. Are you streaming today, Sam?
I will be, yeah.